Hello everyone, my name's Amanda and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be starting my own Sims for Forever World and I thought I would share it here on YouTube. Now, I have struggled for a long time now to get into the gameplay side of The Sims 4. I kind of dip in and out, keep starting new saves, things like that. And then I recently discovered this video by Yasmin's Corner. I will leave it linked in the description box below, as I think she explains the whole Forever World aspect a lot better than I will. But the idea is that you create one save, and whenever you start a new game, or usually would start a new save, you start it all under this Forever World save. So I feel as though this could be good for someone like myself who's really struggled to embrace the gameplay aspect of the game and really get into the game. Now, like I said, I'll leave the video that I watched linked below, and she's got a whole playlist of videos and I found it really helpful. So in my video today, I'm going to start off by just showing you guys what I've done so far. So I have already built this house in Evergreen Harbour. I do have a speed build for this, so that will probably be the next video that I upload to my channel. And I had already created the sim for starting this Forever World. Now, at the start, I did play around with neighborhood stories, kind of to try and tweak it to work how I would want it to work for me. And I've completely disabled neighborhood stories for active Sims because I want to be in full control of what goes on for my Sims that I'm going to actively play with. And I think the idea of starting a Forever World is you're going to kind of combine rotational play into that as well. Now, this is something for me. I start lots of challenges and I get a little bit bored of them and I won't play them for a couple of months, so I'll start a new save and then I might go backwards and forwards. So I think the whole Forever World aspect could be good for someone like myself, because your Sims are going to end up meeting each other and it's going to just make the whole game a lot more immersive. So jumping in, the first Sim I've created is Lunar Moon. Now, I did create her for a different save. I was just playing around with the new kind of like the event, I think the Nature's Calling event. So I did create her to start playing with that, and then I've tweaked her a little bit to start off in the Forever World today. So I started off in Evergreen Harbour and I thought it would be a good chance to also combine some of the gameplay for the eco lifestyle pack as well. So for her Aspiration, I've picked one that's kind of connected to that as well. Now, I had already done all of her casts, but I decided to come in and add a tattoo onto her because this is not something that I've really used very much in my own Sims 4 gameplay. And with starting this whole Forever World save, I decided that I want to make sure that I'm using lots of parts of the game that I don't normally use. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to start straight off the bat in cast and come in and add on a tattoo. Now, I did flick through and then I come across the little Sims Plum Bob one, and I thought this really represented the gameplay to me and starting gameplay. So I added that onto her, and then I thought I would quickly fly through and show you guys the outfits that I have chose for her already when I made her in cast. Perhaps in future videos this also would be a great opportunity for me to make some cast videos as well, as I would like to keep this running as a playlist on my channel, as I feel like this might push me to play the game a little bit more as well, because currently I love building, that's my favorite thing to do, and then I recently started making speed build videos, so perhaps we can combine that in. But jumping in to the game, that's her all set up in cast, and then like I said, I have already got the container starter home that I built her as a speed building video coming soon. This also, the build is also already available to download on the Sims 4 gallery. I think I just labeled it Eco Lifestyle Starter Home. And then because as I mentioned, I had created this sim to play through the new Nature's Calling event. So I had already done a few things under her Aspiration already. So I thought I would quickly show you guys the task that I have already completed. So she's doing the Eco Innovator Aspiration, and I have already completed all of the first part and one of the second part. Now, I have had to Google certain things because I've really not played with any of the eco lifestyle gameplay. So this has been a little bit of an eye-opener as well. And then I do already have her in a career as well, which is a junior drafts person. I believe this was one of the parts of the eco lifestyle aspiration as well. So it's great how it all ties together and how like the daily tasks and things are connected to eco lifestyle as well. And then alongside doing this, I've been doing the Nature's Calling event. So as you can see, I have already unlocked quite a few of the items that you win from completing the quest. I'm really hoping that I can get it completed before it finishes. I believe it finishes on August 5th, so I've got a little bit of time. So I'm really hoping that I can get this completed, as these have also helped really push me to do gameplay as well. So yeah, I've got some of that done, and then we're going to get a few more parts of this done in today's video as well. I have also woke up today and developed a cough, so I do apologise for the voice in today's video as well. So jumping into the gameplay, I haven't really done too much with this sim, but when I started off with this gameplay, sorry, they had the whole sleepover thing, which I think comes with the Growing Together pack. So these 3 sims just kind of have descended on my house, and I decided to play through it for a couple of days, but it was getting a little bit annoying. So I've decided to send them home, because I'm only living in a starter home, and having 3 sims as well as my own sleeping over was getting a little bit too hectic. So I did send them all home, but having them come to stay, they weren't sims that I'd known, did help build up some relationships straight off the bat. And then something that was quite funny in this sort of let's play is I kept getting contacted by Jeffrey Landgrab. He honestly has approached me. I think I get several texts throughout this short part of the gameplay where he is either inviting me to things or popping up with text messages, little things of Social Bunny. So yeah, I ended up declining them all, but I felt as though it was getting a little bit pushy. So he's clearly, I don't know, maybe he's got a bit of an interest in my sim. But part of the Nature's Calling event was to do some crafting. So I had already purchased the woodworking table. I forgot what it was called there. So I'm starting to use that, and that's, again, this isn't a skill that I ever really often play around with. So it's great that these parts of the game are pushing me to use and learn new skills. I am one of those people, when I do play The Sims, I tend to play that same style of gameplay, which for me is, if they want to earn money, I do it through arts or gardening, or I get them just a standard job that I don't have to follow them to. And then a lot of the time I seem to just create families, and it gets very repetitive and very boring very quickly. So I'm hoping that playing this way will help me look at some other gameplay aspects that are in the game. Now, something else that I've never really fully embraced using is the Social Bunny feature. So when this popped up, I made sure to start integrating it into my game. So here I was kind of having to learn how you use it, but I was just adding like the Sims that I have met and made contact with into the Social Bunny thing. In this gameplay as well, I do want to make little changes, things to the calendar we're going to change in today's video, things like how long each season lasts, because I really want to personalize this save to me. And I think that's part of the idea of a forever world, making the gameplay suit you rather than feeling like you have to suit the gameplay and you have to play a certain way and things like that. So I do try and embrace as many things as I can in the game. So for example, here playing in the eco lifestyle world, I'm trying to embrace voting on the neighborhood action plans. These are usually something that I do once, don't really take much notice of, and then tend to not really bother with. But because I'm trying to play through a lot of the eco lifestyle gameplay in this first part, I'm really trying to embrace that. And then I believe, like, the idea is, when you do get a little bit bored playing with this sim or this particular challenge or aspiration, you create a new family or new sim in your forever world and play with a different aspect of the game. And it's also a great way to play some of the townies as well. Like, I am looking forward to trying some of that. And then I'm also looking forward to learning a little bit more how the whole Sims for Forever world game sort of plays out. So it's been really interesting. So here we are, we're going to vote on one of the neighborhood action plans. I decided to go for this one. I felt as though it would be fun to try and choose something that I can actually work towards also doing, and kind of like really reading all the little blurbs that come up with each of the pop-ups and things like that, so you feel more immersed in the game. I don't want to get stuck into that loop of like fulfilling needs, going to work, going to sleep, repeat every day. I want to make sure that I've got a couple of different little challenges going on, and this is working for me at the moment, where the Nature's Calling event is running alongside with wanting to complete the eco lifestyle aspiration as well. So my sim has pretty much just been going about doing her regular thing, and here she is, approached again by Jeffrey Landgrab. Now in this home, I just quickly wanted to mention, I did build this and play test it, and I had no issues when it come to cooking, but then when I was playing today, for some reason I had a couple of issues when it come to cooking, so I couldn't work out what was causing it at first. I do end up going into build mode and changing a couple of things further along in the video, but as you can see, one of our tasks in the Nature's Calling event was to buy a grill and cook on the grill. This is something that I'm sure a lot of us have done in The Sims, so I made sure to take part in that. And a lot of these quests in the Nature's Calling event are quite easy to do. I did find this one quite easy. I didn't find it too immersive, so it was quite a easy one to start off with. Some of the previous events I have found a little bit more fun than this one, but nonetheless it's been interesting. This is something I've not experienced before, things like burnout from work. I'm not quite sure how she got burnt out, because I don't actually feel as though I've done too much for my job. I've kind of just sent them to work and back, but it's been interesting to play along with some of those sort of pop-ups and wants and fears and all of that kind of stuff. Now, part of the Nature's Calling event was to listen to a radio station whilst sleeping. Now, because I built this container home and I've not actually sectioned off the living room, so technically it counts all as one room in build mode. So I thought if I placed the stereo down in the living room and then sent her to sleep like it explained, that it would still work, but it didn't. It did still need to have the stereo in the bedroom, which I found a little bit confusing, because technically this is just all one room, the living room, the kitchen and the bedroom. So sometimes you just, every day you learn something new in The Sims. So it basically, this part of the quest asks you to switch to a specific radio station and then listen to it whilst sleeping. So I did put it on, and then I thought once it comes to her going to sleep, I will test it going to have it playing in the living room and sleeping in the bedroom, but it didn't work. So I do end up having to put another little speaker in the bedroom as well. But at the moment I'm kind of just keeping up with some sim relationships that I've already started. These were just random townies that, like I mentioned, they come to stay over when I first started playing as this sim, and I've tried to, since sending them home, build up some relationships as well, because that's something I feel like I don't throw myself too much into in the game. So I'm really hoping to do that in this save. So here she is testing out listening to the radio, and then I do send her to sleep, and yeah, it just didn't work. So I was kind of like, right, I need to play around with this. And then just as I was about to fix that, I got burgled. Now, again, when burglars were first added to The Sims 4, I had a quick go of it. Like, it didn't take much. It was like this, 1 or 2 Sims nights in, and I got burgled. In this build, I completely forgot to add in the burglar alarm, and I wasn't surprised to see myself or my sim being burgled straight away. I did confront them. They still took my grill and then just walked off casually. So yeah, I clearly need to install a burglar alarm, but we're going to go back inside and play around with moving I didn't end up wanting to move that radio. If you look at the style of this build, I wanted it to look as though a lot of it had been put together by kind of things like maybe The Sims found, maybe The Sims bought secondhand. I did have to build it on a starter budget, so it was quite a budget restricted build, but I wanted all the items that I used to look either as though they'd been a little bit handmade or they'd been bought very cheaply, they're a bit mismatched. And maybe they're mismatched because of things like dumpster diving and things like that. So when I was adding new things in throughout this build, I kind of wanted to make sure I kept with that same style. I didn't necessarily want to go in and start upgrading her home as such and moving away from that container eco lifestyle living look that's going on. So as you see, I used the crate for the original stereo audio system that I popped down, but then I thought it'd be easier here to just add down a little speaker because we have only got a small amount of space, and then I did have to play around with the placement of it to get it to work. So here it finally works. I think I did have to mess about a few times sending her to listen to it to get her to sleep to finally complete the Symphony of Serenity quest. And then this takes us on to our next one. We did only unlock a few little basic things here, but I do like the idea of unlocking new items, especially if they're build by items or CAS. A lot of these things like moodlet things, I don't tend to use them, so of course I'm going to try and make sure to regularly look at what I've got in my Sims inventory, sell things that I don't need, keep things like upgrade parts and the moodlet potions, and actually use them, because in my normal style of gameplay I don't use any kind of moodlet potions, any kind of reward points, anything like that. So it's definitely something that I want to try out. And I think again, having those as rewards in the EA events is quite fun. So now we're kind of at the point where I've worked through a lot of the previous quests, and we've got a new one, which is Echoes from the Cave. Now a lot of these ones I didn't actually manage to complete in today's little mini let's play, because they require a few more levels of the handiness skill. So it's a great way to make sure that you are pushing through the skills. Now here is where I noticed I just had a few issues when it comes to cooking. At first I thought it was because there was not enough counter space, then I thought it was an issue with the bin. Here's where I noticed I just left this bookcase randomly in the middle of the space. So I was trying to work out for ages what was going on, because like I said, when I built this and play tested it, I had no issues when it comes to cooking. I did end up in the end just getting rid of the separate stove and hob and just having a single one, because I don't know if it was maybe something to do with some kind of glitch there, because it was kind of like she couldn't use the counter to do the second part of cooking, or she couldn't use the oven or something. Every time I play tested it, or I paused that recording and messed around with playing, and I just had nothing but issues. So I do end up off camera playing around with this and trying to work it out. Here I'm thinking, okay, is it a bin issue, because she couldn't seem to clean everything up either. So I swapped out to my go-to bin. This is the bin that I always seem to use. I love that when you put stuff in it you make money, so it's a great way. And then I still was just having issues, and I kind of wanted to crack on and complete things in this quest. I didn't want to waste time on cooking, so I do end up off camera just placing down a different cooker and things like that. I'm not quite sure what I was doing here. I think I was checking what I needed to do for the next part of the challenge, and then we're going to work on some of that. Now part of that challenge is to travel to, I think it's one of the parks, is it Desert Bloom, and spend some sim time outside. Now this is a great way to push you to use community lots. This is something that I do already like doing in my gameplay. I don't really like staying at home. I do try and get my sims to go out, so it's a great way to meet new sims and to take part in other aspects of the world. I do like making sure to dig up rocks and finding different collectibles and things like that. So I thought coming to visit the park would be great. The second part of visiting the park was to break the caves, but you couldn't actually do that without, I think it's like level 9 or 10 of the handiness skill. So I come here to complete this part of the task and then found out that I couldn't do it because I need level 10, and then I looked and I was shocked to see I'm only at level 4. So I've got quite a bit of gameplay to do with that. This here, I got a phone call and ended up with some free money, so that was a bonus for an extra 2,500 simoleons. Again, don't usually always take part in things like these pop-up calls, because sometimes I find them really random and they don't always tie in with the gameplay or the challenges that I'm doing. But again, with this Forever World, we're going to embrace lots of those Sims 4 elements. So I made sure to answer the phone, and yeah, it got me an extra 2,500 simoleons. So when it does come to doing some upgrades to the house or to our container build, we're going to have a nice bit of money to do that. I'm thinking to not make any changes onto the container build until I maybe at around 10,000-15,000 simoleons, because I want to try and embrace living in a starter home, working through her job and making money. And then for this particular save or this particular sim, I've made sure that I've not used any money cheats. So we started off with building our starter home and things like that, I did actually have to cheat to get the hot tub for one of their Nature's Calling events, but then I deleted it, and then when it gave me the money, I used the money cheat to get rid of that money, if that makes sense. So all of the simoleons I have been either earned through work or selling things I found and things like that, because I feel as though for this particular sim, I do want to make sure I don't use the money cheat and make anything too easy. I'd like this one to be a bit of a challenge when it comes to earning money, and I think that works quite well with the eco lifestyle world as well. So we did everything we could at the park, so we're going to return home, and then I thought this would be a good opportunity to try and get that handiness skill up. So I'm going to fix up some of her needs, make her a little bit more happy, and then I believe we're going to do a little bit of the handiness skill. And then I want to make sure with this sim as well that I try and use other ways to raise the handiness skill. So I haven't actually ever used the mentoring feature before, so this way, I think, I could be wrong, but I believe this makes you build the skill faster by having like a sim mentor your sim, because I did notice she leveled up quite quickly when doing it this way. So this is kind of going to be really handy because I'm on a bit of a time limit to get the Nature's Calling event finished. So I'm definitely going to use that feature 1 or 2 more times to get that handiness skill up. Now you do also get these little quests when you start a new save to sort of like take you through the basics of the basics of the game. I'm not going to bother doing them because I feel as though I've done them so many times where I've started so many different saves, so you can just exit them. I exited one, I didn't bother exiting the other, but you can just delete them if you feel as though the little pop-up things are annoying. And then again, like I said, I wanted to make sure that I pop in and check in with the whole social bunny feature, so I did just check that. One of my parts of the eco lifestyle aspiration is to sell power or water. Now I'm not 100% sure if I'm doing this right with the due collect thing, and then I wasn't 100% sure if I had it set up correctly for the bills side, so I changed it to storing power and water, and then I'm hoping I can sell it. But if not, I am going to have to do a little bit of research on how you complete that part of the aspiration. I feel like a complete noob when it comes to Sims 4 gameplay because I just really have not played it, and it's crazy because Sims 1, Sims 2 and Sims 3 I really played the game, and then I had a long break from the Sims, and then Sims 4 came out, and then I just got into building, and then for like over the course of the last say 10 years I've kind of dipped in and out of the Sims, but then I've always just built. That's all I've enjoyed doing. So this is the first time in a very long time that I'm getting back into the gameplay, and I feel as though there's so many features where there's so many expansion packs that I've got so much to learn. It can feel a little bit overwhelming, and I think this is what also stops me from continuing playing. I end up dipping in and out because I feel like, oh god, I've got to research this and research that, but I'm hoping I will stick at this. And as you see there, Jeffrey Landgrabber contacted me again. Like, I only actually played the game for around half an hour, 45 minutes, and I believe he contacted me 4 times. Each time I kind of like declined the conversation. So he's really pushy. Here is where I swapped out the cooker so I can finally cook without any issues and clean up without any issues. I don't think that cost me too much in terms of money, as I believe the cooker and the hob I was using worked out more expensive than the one I replaced it with, so we're kind of at that same level with money. And then at this part, I'd done a little bit of gameplay, and this is where I was thinking I need to tweak things like the seasons. So if you're playing with the seasons expansion pack installed, you're going to have the different seasons. Currently in my gameplay here, we're in fall, and I had it set up so fall only, or each season only lasted 7 days, and this felt very quick and very rushed. I am playing on normal lifespan. I'm not sure if maybe I should change it to long lifespan. So I've just sort of trying to work those little things out. So for now I'm playing on normal lifespan, and I change the seasons from 7 days to 14 days. This may change as I play this a little bit more. This is where we're going to go in, because I started wanting to tweak the calendar, and then I was thinking only 7 days for a season, and I wanted to add in more of a holiday for Christmas. I wanted to make Christmas like how it is in the UK, where we celebrate Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and Boxing Day, and I also find it in The Sims, like Winterfest one day just feels too rushed to do all the kind of like Christmassy things that I want to do. So before I sort of started going into the calendar and wanted to change adding in those holidays, I decided to come in and change the season length to 14 days, as then this way having 3 days for Christmas doesn't feel as though it's taking up the whole holiday or like the whole winter season, if that makes sense. So then once I'd saved that, we're jumping back into the calendar, and I was kind of just looking over what's already going on and wanting to make sure that I could place Christmas Eve, Christmas Day and Boxing Day down somewhere where it wasn't massively going to affect holidays that are already going on. Now, I already have this Sim's birthday coming up, so she's already going to turn into an adult quite quickly, but I feel as though that's okay because we're going to be adding in lots of other Sims to play with in this save anyway, so I'm not too stressed that she's already going into the adult age. But let's talk Christmas Eve. So for Christmas Eve, I have added in baking, decorating, festive spirit, invite guests, and then the last one I think I add in cleaning, because I felt as though you're going to want to have a clean up before Christmas Day. I wanted these holidays to kind of suit how I am in real life. And in real life on Christmas Eve, I like to have a little bit of a tidy up so everything looks perfect for Christmas Day. But then I also like to make sure I have lots of fun. So then we've got Christmas Day, and I've added in decorating, drinking, Father Winter, festive spirit and gift giving. I wanted to make sure that this particular holiday suited this sim. She's not got a family, so I kind of imagined drinking with friends could be a good thing to do on Christmas Day. And then for Boxing Day, oh, here quickly, by the way, I'm just making sure they've all got the Winterfest theme for when it comes to decorating, so that we get those Christmassy looking items. And then we're going to add in a Boxing Day, and I have never done this in The Sims. I've never added in my own holidays or even bothered tweaking the ones that are in The Sims. So this was really fun to do and to look through the different things you can have. So for Boxing Day, I thought it would be good to appreciate an object, because you could appreciate the gifts you've been given at Christmas. Decorate, of course, drinking. I think we chose games, and then again inviting guests over, because it would be nice to spend the time with friends and family. Starting off with this sim, she doesn't have any family connections, so I'm hoping I can kind of try and build some up. And then obviously the same if she has children. I would love for this save to really expand. But anyway guys, that is going to bring us to the end of this part of starting my Forever World. I've kind of got the very basics down, but come back for part 2 where I'm sure we will do a little bit more gameplay with this sim and play through eco lifestyle a little bit more, and then maybe introduce some other people soon and some other builds as well. As I mentioned, the speed build for this house is going to be up on my channel, so do hit that subscription button if you don't want to miss that. If you enjoyed today's video, please do give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below if you play with a Sims 4 Forever World. Thank you all so much for watching. Lots of love. Bye bye.